This is Power Athlete Radio. With your hosts, Denny K, Professor Booty, and the Luke Summers. And now, toes forward, hips locked, shoulders set, and retract those scapulars. It's time for some knowledge bombs.
And we're live. What's up, Power Athlete Nation? It's that time. Power Athlete Radio, episode 43. We got a good one for you. We got a special guest, but before that, I have to introduce my excellent co-host, Steve Playtech. What's happening, dude?
What's up, man? How you doing up there?
Good. I'm surviving. And we got the awesome Power Athlete coaches, Luke, Cali, and Tex.
What is up?
Howdy.
Ahoy, ahoy.
There it is. So, Luke, Cali, Dynamis CrossFit, how'd that seminar go?
Terrible. Horrible. Probably one of the worst.
Good feedback, but maybe that guy was confused.
Well, Adam, actually, we held him down and pink-bellied him until he agreed to put that blog post up.
Right.
Or that comment up on the blog.
No, it was an awesome cert. It was really great. It was a smaller cert. Friends of ours at Dynamis CrossFit were hosting it, so Marcus and Nicole. And it was just a good, fun cert because anything in comparison to like trying to run a cert in Columbia is so much easier. And that's not to say Columbia wasn't great and a good experience and involved. This was just in terms of like logistics and language and delivery of various jokes. This is much more our speed. So it went really well though.
So when you get a smaller group, and we're talking like 10, right? When you get a group of 10, do you find that the seminars go easier, a little bit faster, you can get more information, or is it the opposite?
No, oftentimes it's the opposite because it's much more of like, I guess, what do you call it, like a board, like a round table type discussion. So
it's not like forced by the hand of the law, but it's like a forced engagement because it's such a small and intimate atmosphere where for folks who've been to the seminar, we open up and we're like, hey, we got the cookie cutter, but really, we're just the sail and you're our wind.
Oh my God.
What?
Right.
And so when you get more engagement, the further off the script we get, but we always come back and cover everything on the script if it isn't covered by a question from an audience. So So like the engagement really drives the seminar and it is really like the lifeblood of the thing. So when you get a smaller group, people are either more courageous to be more involved or they're really forced because they can't hide in the abyss of the 40-person seminar.
Yeah, I can remember 10 people's names, so I can easily call on someone and force them to be involved. And like Luke said, there's also like a comfort level among the 10 attendees because it's a lot less intimidating to ask a question in a smaller group than obviously like in front of 40 people. So, but it was a great experience. I'm trying to think if we had anything unique occur. No, we had a studette there, Nicole, who was she's like super jacked, former gymnast, and like did everything with pretty relative ease and
in terms of body awareness,
like force.
A lot of the warm-ups that people are super stoked about and get super destroyed by rely on your ability to know where your body is in terms of balance, flexibility, stability, and this is where people tend to be the most challenged because they spend the least amount of time on it. But this girl, Nicole, grew up as a high-level gymnast, so it was all pretty much baby gains to her.
Yeah.
And then the one thing that was challenging for her, though, was sprinting, and when we go through our sprint prescription or in terms of mechanics, we require a dorsiflexed foot because it minimizes ground contact time. It's a much more powerful position out of that lower leg. And as a gymnast, they point their toes.
In everything.
So even as they run, they're supposed to point their toes because it's a cleaner line and I guess more aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it's like for style points.
So And so it was funny trying to get her to dorsiflex or drive a high knee up with her toe dorsiflexed or feet dorsiflexed, and she was not having it. But after some practice, slowing it down, she ended up getting it. She's definitely one of the better movers there.
Yep, it was a good cert.
Awesome. What are some of the updates or any nuggets coming out of Power Athlete headquarters regarding like the premium stuff? Any kind of update on that, or where we at?
Yeah, we finally got the beta software installed, and it looks like we have compatibility, and everything's gonna be ready to rock. I'm gonna hit up a couple of our guys, our people across the country who have been pretty engaged with us either through email, Facebook, Twitter, on CrossFit Football comments, and they are going to be my testing group. So we're going to have probably on Wednesday or Thursday, 20 guys are going to get an email to go register, and we're gonna comb this thing through and prime it up with content. What we have is we have forums ready. We're going to have some how-to guides. We're going to have some programming ready to launch on day one. We're going to have a big announcement through our newsletter, so people are going to find out through the newsletter and Facebook and everywhere. So it's there. It's right around the corner. Our trip to Colombia gave us a bit of a hiccup. We were a little behind, and then also some complexities with just getting the software installed. And for anyone who's on like the web admin side of things, there's really 3 packages that we are leveraging, and one is going to be like your e-commerce registration software, so people can subscribe and pay for memberships. Then once the memberships are set, then you have to build permissions on the other components of the network. So that's going to be your premium blog posts. That's going to be your video content. Then after that, you have to get permission set up on a package for your social network and profile software. So we're going to ask you for your lifts. What's your 1RM? All right. What program are you following? What's your favorite workout? Just what you would think out of a power athlete. What sport do you play? What are you training for? So that's a whole other software package. And then all that information is going to go towards the forum community. So there's going to be a social networking community and forum community that are going to be kind of integrated. So you're going to be able to post on your forums where, we're going to have everything from for a coach topics, for an athlete topics, we're going to have general topics, we're going to have VIP topics for our professional members, and then we're going to have really like a kind of like, I guess, a Facebook / Google / Twitter feed type deal where you can update Power Athlete Nation on your training, on what's going on, if you got new equipment, whatever. So it's going to be, we're really trying to build this nation, this whole ecosystem within Power Athlete. Now it's coming together. We just have to style the pages so it doesn't look like you're on some janky website. But before we get all the bells and whistles put up, we are going to get you the functionality. So for those of you guys who get in early, you're going to see an evolution as you log in week after week in terms of the aesthetics of this and navigation. But first and foremost, we know what everybody wants. They've spoken, we've listened, and we're going to get that stuff up and then polish it as we go. So it's right around the corner, and we're working diligently on our end to get everything primed and get the pump primed and get ready to pull the ripcord.
If you build it, they will come.
That's right, Denny.
A little bit of Field of Dreams moment there. Dude, that sounds awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I can't wait.
It's going to be good. The thing is, what we're trying, we almost have too much information. So we're trying to figure out how to phase it out. In terms of programming.
We don't want to make it too complicated.
Yeah, in terms of programming, what if we just offer, if we offered 7 daily programs, people are not going to know what the hell to do. So it's trying to figure out how to phase this stuff in and actually kind of utilize and build the relationships between programs so we can have kind of a preparatory phase, then a transition phase if you're going to go into something else. And the best way to do that and keep it cohesive so people aren't just don't find themselves program hopping, because the last thing we want to do is offer too much and get people lost. We're going to give guidance. We've talked to a couple of our loyal followers, and there's requests for different styles of programming, which we absolutely have put together. We have so many freaking templates out that we've tested and put through the ringer, and have elicited a certain training response that it's time to really make these public and give people something that we know works, that is safe, that is effective, but not too much at once at the same time.
Right. You would almost have to have like some kind of like a questionnaire that they would have to fill out so you can get an idea of what they're doing. Are they playing a sport? If they're not, if they're just working out to look good naked, or just to kick some ass overall. Here's your program. If you're a wrestler and you're in your off season, here's your program. Something like that.
Yeah, and and being able to articulate what exactly this program entails, what the requirements are of the athlete in terms of skill level and equipment, and what the training effects are going to be. Like, let's say somebody jumps in and is like a weight sensitive athlete, and they jump into like a bulking protocol. Well, that's not going to work for them. You know what I mean? So just figuring out the best way to articulate that and make it available to the masses, because a lot of the stuff that we've programmed as well has been for our gym. And, not every gym has Airdyne, stationary bike, reverse hyper, an assortment of bars to challenge posture and position, so we have to really scale that back. I mean, shit, you see on the blogs all the time, I don't have a slam ball. All right, well, or I don't have an Airdyne. What can I do to replicate the demands of an Airdyne? And the reality is, get an Airdyne. So if there's a killer program that somebody wants to invest in, but it requires equipment they don't have, we want to make sure that's up front and center. So we're not, people understand what the fuck they're getting into.
Steve, was that like the programming that he's talking about, was that similar to the athlete at your gym and the program that you had him on?
Yeah, I guess maybe. So Nick Moore, he's a baseball player in the Red Sox organization. So I talked with Luke and and we got some ideas together. And he just texted me back. I think he's gonna try and hook up with you down in Florida, Tex. But he crushed his preseason tests. So they have a bunch of strength tests that include things like one leg RDL, 5-rep max, some shuttle sprints. They do what we would call, I guess, supine pull-ups, but they do them on a bar for reps. And I don't think he placed lower than third on any of his preseason tests. And he was training with me for 4 months or so up at CrossFit Gwinnett. So just applying this model that we talk about, and then having some offline help from Luke, he just crushed it. So looking for big things to come out of Nick in the baseball leagues.
There you go. And did you do any kind of like baselines, or did he just come in pretty proficient and he just kind of like carried him off into the sunset?
It wasn't quite that romantic, Denny.
I must be doing something wrong with my athletes then, because, man, I mean, we're talking Jerry Maguire, right? Give him a big hug, maybe a pat on the ass here and there.
Oh, you guys do it different. You guys do it different in the Midwest. Yeah, I mean, we had some baselines. His baselines were his tests. So he came in with these tests, and then we had some other baselines, which were some sprinting and some he wanted to get better at some of the lifts. He wanted his squat to go up, his deadlift to go up, that sort of thing. And so we used those as tests, and every one of his lifts went up. I guess when you're 21, that's what happens. He eats like a horse and trained hard, so trained smart, I guess. And he just I think he's going to crush it this year in the season.
That's awesome. Cool. All right. Well, shit. Like I said earlier, we got a special guest, Chelsey Haardt. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chelsey Haardt out there at CrossFit Balboa. Maybe you could kind of give everybody some background history of yourself, how you got involved with these guys, and how things are in the LFL, any misconceptions that you feel you should voice your opinion on.
Well, first, Denny, let us give Chelsey a proper introduction.
Yeah.
Okay? Chelsey is the queen of hearts.
Queen of hearts.
She runs CrossFit football, power athlete, and CrossFit Balboa. She bats her eyelashes. She gets what she needs. Whatever Chelsey wants, Chelsey gets. Okay?
Chelsey once got me.
Chelsey
once got me $700 worth of deer antler supplements.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just because she asked nicely.
So Chelsey is she manages all of our merchandise in our store. She is our event girl. Basically because she is really the best looking out of anyone on our staff.
Oh, not true.
And the smartest and brightest and most bubbly. So there's never a cloud over Chelsey's head. She's a ray of sunshine and rainbows and kittens and puppies.
That's right. Mainly puppies, but yeah.
So this is Chelsey.
But yeah, hi guys. I found Balboa and CrossFit football about almost 2 years ago now. 2 years and like this month.
Yeah.
It's just 2 years right now. Through one of my teammates that I play with in the Legends Football League, formerly known as the Lingerie Football League. Yeah, so I trained with my own trainer for a year, then made the football league, and then after my first season, one of my teammates emailed John because she found CrossFit football online, and she's like, hey, can we come in for an assessment? So if you can imagine about 6 to 8 lingerie football athletes coming into CrossFit Buffalo with Ben and Luke and one of our other trainers,
Basically,
Chris.
Every guy in the gym was like, wait, you're having who?
The best day of your life.
All trainers on deck. Did an assessment, and then I live pretty close to the gym, so they invited me to train with them anytime I wanted, and that just kind of snowballed into my life now. I had my first training session with all the guys, and then my second was with just John and I. And that was an experience, to say the least.
We'll talk about the first day. So I actually have a whole bunch of pictures here I just pulled up.
Yeah!
This is the first day. How many chicks here? We have them doing resisted runs. We have them squatting. There's definitely a few guys training in the back, quote unquote training in the background.
Just watching maybe.
But so these chicks came in and like varying training backgrounds, and a lot. I think everyone did CrossFit, right?
Yeah, everyone there was doing CrossFit. I hadn't really done CrossFit. I just dabbled in CrossFit.
So what these girls basically knew was like for time, AMRAP. That we asked them to do the heaviest weight on their back squat for 5, and then
Look.
Yeah.
What are they wearing? Let me visualize this moment.
Denny, you pig. They're just in bikini bottoms. That's all.
Full hair and makeup,
No, they were all in workout gear. I'm going to post a couple of these pictures in the show notes. But they all came up, and they what was interesting is they all got after it pretty hard. Like most not to be. This is just a fact, Chelsey. I'm not trying to be sexist, but most females who come into the gym are like treat a barbell delicately. You know what I mean? Like we were given the cue like last week. You move the weight doesn't move you. And the mentality of most women is like, hey, this barbell is going to move me or bury me or whatever. These chicks would get under the bar and get after it. But what was interesting is everybody thought they hit their 5 RM, and then we said, okay, let's throw on another 5 kilos. Another 5 kilos, another 5 kilos, and everybody was able to squat more than they thought. And it fell apart. We queued them up, and everybody got a little heavier. And like, oh, I didn't know I could lift that heavy. And then we did some resisted runs, and these chicks were gnarly, dude. And what we were hoping to get these girls in there like at least 2 or 3 times a week, but just where they lived and work schedules, it didn't all work out for everybody. But Chelsey made it happen. So I think we had a seminar coming up the following weekend, and she came in to train with John.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I guess go ahead and give your.
So
Steve, you know how Nick's session went with John, right?
Yeah. Sorry, my mute was on. Yeah. Nick came back and he was like a prisoner of war. So John,
John has no mercy and is always willing to, push somebody to the limits, and I guess that was his plan with Chelsey. Chelsey, go ahead.
Yeah, so pushing it to the limit, doing God knows what lifts. I think I blacked out at one point because I was so scared and just wanted to make him happy. So I remember we were doing the resisted runs with the band, and then he found a resistance like speed training harness, and it's one that you can use solo. So we tied it up to our pull-up structure that was bolted down, so totally safe, no problem. So I'm in a harness. The cord is like a bungee cord holding me, so that's the resistance. So you sprint out as far as you can, and the bungee cord, in a sense, gets so tight and it stops you, and then you have to sit low and walk it back. So John is off to the side watching my my running form and like my sprint and stuff like that. So second sprint out, I never used this contraption before. I stand up too early when I'm walking the cord back, and it snaps me back like a rag doll. And I landed on both my wrists, like flew like at least maybe like 6 feet in the air, landed on my wrists, on my ass, on my wrist, so embarrassed. Didn't cry or anything, but yeah, later I found out I fractured both of my wrists. And John comes up to me, grabs my hands, gives him he says, "How do they feel?" Looks at him, gives him a nice shake. I was okay, and then I proceeded to sit and bum my squat for about a half hour, and just get more flexible while my wrists are throbbing. So yeah, and then I come in third visit. I'm in a hard cast on one hand, and then a soft cast on the other. And I'm like, do it. What can we do, guys? I'm like, I can't use my hands, but I've got my legs. Let's do it.
Yeah. So Heart of a Champion. John's filling us in. She's like, yeah, she took a stoic, told her not to stand up. She stood up, and I think everything's all right. And then she comes in for her second training session with these casts, and we're like, oh my god, we shattered this girl's arms. But you know what she did? She fucking trained hard. Even with casts on, we were able to sub in some banded presses. We had the Swiss bar. We used her on we put a safety squat bar on her, belt squats and stuff like that. And then 6 weeks later, I think those things were off, right?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, about 6 to 8 weeks, I was getting better and getting good.
So we knew we had the Heart of a Champion as soon as she was like, well, I broke my wrist, but I'm ready to train, But that was a trip, dude.
It was awesome. Good experience. Got really, really strong on my squat during that time, needless to say.
So then how long have you been playing football?
I've been playing football. This will be my third season. So fourth year, we took about a year and a half hiatus. Conveniently, after I fractured my wrist, they went to Canada and started another section of our league in Canada, and they're in Canada and Australia now. But so we had a year and a half off, so I had plenty of time to heal my wrists up and get a whole lot stronger. And when I came back after that year and a half off, my coaches were absolutely blown away at just the new speed I had, and then definitely my strength gains. I was significantly bigger. I was about 15 pounds bigger than I was the season before, and no one pushed me around on the field, needless to say. So I was very thankful for CrossFit football. Saved my ass, for sure. Even though I fractured my wrist, still saved my ass.
So tell them a little bit about like your training and your practices and your experience on field and like the athleticism of these girls, because I don't think people fully appreciate or understand that a lot of these girls are like former collegiate athletes. They're extremely strong, extremely competitive, and having seen women play football in various facets, like I haven't seen athleticism like you guys have in a lot of like other women's sports. So like what has been your experience? Was it eye-opening for you to like be in that competitive scenario? Did you think it would be easier than it was or harder than it was?
Oh no, I went into it. I had followed our website, Legends Football League, or LFLUS.com forever, so I was like all synced up with all the emails and stuff. But the girls that train with us and the girls that play in my league are just absolutely animals. They're absolute animals. They take no fucking prisoners. It's tackle football where we wear full pads, helmets, and mouth guards at practice, and then obviously for our games it's a little bit less. But I mean, the girls I train with and that are on my team they're all D1 soccer players, softball players, track. A lot of track and soccer mostly, and then we'll get like your occasional lacrosse athlete. And I did dance, so I had no fucking clue what I was getting myself into. But I just lifted for a year, and I'm like, here I am. I want to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, the girls they're insane. Every girl I've come up against is just like a cannonball. Or just like a wall of muscle. Yeah. Honestly, all these girls train their ass off, and we only get 4 games a season, and then we'll get 2 playoff games and then a bowl game. So I mean, you really have to make the most of the games that you're playing in. You have to fucking basically kill each other for a win, because one loss in the season is that can end your season, you know.
I mean, these girls too, like, I think if people like even did like a quick Google search or something, I mean, you would think coming from LFL, and you know, when it was formerly known as Lingerie Football League, you would think, okay, maybe these are just like some dainty girls running around. These girls, first of all, they're not small, they're beasts, and they're huge. And like Chelsey said, they're like a wall of muscle. I mean, the musculature on these girls would be that of any CrossFitter or more. And so it's pretty amazing. Like, I've seen Chelsey throw people around, and I've seen girls on, you know, her team get thrown around. I've seen some crazy stuff, and it's just a testament to their training and their athleticism, because it's truly translating to the field. I mean, these girls really are hammers. It's nuts.
Yeah. A lot of the girls, all of them lift, speed train. They do, you know, their ladder work, all those drills and stuff like that. I mean, you train like you play. So you train angry, like at practice. We just absolutely beat the crap out of each other at practice.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I would say my practices are harder than my games, just because we all want to give our best to the teammates and make each other better, and like we just give each other hell. So you'll hear all about that when we start hitting this season. We just started season, so when we get into hitting practice, I'll be in pain when I'm lifting, but I'll push through.
How many girls are on the team?
For each team, it's 20 girls per roster. So yeah, just total of 20 girls, and then it's 7-on-7 full tackle football. So we'll take 14 girls to games. So I mean, a practice is like, it's a never-ending tryout at practice. You have 20 girls competing for 14 playing spots. So I mean, just because you make the roster doesn't mean you get honestly any playing time. I mean, my first season I only played like 2 or 3 games. Probably 2. 2 games, and then trained with Power Athlete and CrossFit Football, and I'm a starter now. And I just made all fantasy, so it's kind of like the Pro Bowl of my football league. So I'm the all-star cornerback for that one. So it's amazing.
Just as a side note, we'll get back to the training aspect of this, but just as a side note, like, Chelsey is probably the most beloved player of her team. That means not only is she super athletic and can perform on the field and has a real presence there, but she has a presence off the field too, meaning she's pretty hot. And so when all of these people come to watch the games afterwards, after the girls kind of get cleaned up and come out to meet some of the fans, they sign autographs. And Chelsey's line for autographs is probably easily 8 times the line of any other chick there. And you know, it's because she's got such a great personality, and you know, she's definitely like the total package in terms of like an athlete who can kind of keep their composure and is a smart person outside of the sport as well.
Oh, so. I'm gonna have you guys on my my Tinder account, my Match.com account. Can you guys write me a paragraph on that?
That's right.
I'll references.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I have a really supportive family, and I now have supportive coworkers and stuff like that. So it's really amazing to be part of this family and to get better at football and spread the word about football, because all the girls in my league just train their asses off, and they work just as hard as any man would do for his sport. So
you said 20 girls make the team. How many try out?
Oh God, hundreds of girls try out. We usually have each team has 2 open tryouts before season starts, and we'll get anywhere from 100 to 300 girls per open tryout. So that's like 600 girls. I mean, the interest and passion for women to play football is astronomical. I had no idea that many girls would have been at my first open tryout.
Now, do you have any experience playing quote unquote, or with anyone who's played real girls tackle football?
Yes, actually, our quarterback, Ashley Salerno, played high school. She went to Snoop Dogg's football training camp when she was a kid. Total tomboy. Yeah, there's a picture of her and Snoop Dogg when she was about like 12 years old or something like that. But yeah, she was lucky enough. She plays quarterback, so she played for 2 years at her high school in Chino. And then she ended up quitting just because, guys were obviously targeting her on other teams, and like she's like, hey, do I want to get my head ripped off because I have 5 huge defensive ends running at me, or do I want to extend my career and just work on my technique and play with women who are going to treat me like an equal.
And then how does she feel in terms of competition level? I guess where I'm getting at is I know there's other chicks out there who are like, oh, it's just LFL, it's a bullshit league, and they're playing women's tackle football. Do you find? I personally think I've seen both. Okay, I've watched both, and I think the LFL league is a lot more vicious.
Way more athletic, and also like the speed of the game too. It requires a certain athleticism because the field's smaller too. You guys have less time between plays, and it just seems a little bit more, I don't know, just more active.
Yeah. It's 7-on-7. It's arena football dimensions. So men's and women's arena football, I believe, are the same dimensions, like 30 and 50 yards, something like that. So it's definitely an offensive game, and I mean, it's like you pretty much know who the receivers are already, so it gets pretty personal. And so, I know I've thrown a few punches in there, and then the referees are a little bit lax. You can kind of get away with some, dirtier movements than you could with the NFL, like shoves and face knot. Oh yeah,
it's very aggressive. First of all, let me just tell you too,
it's insanely aggressive because we all know each other. We're supposed to like kick each other's asses.
I've seen Chelsey, two stories. I've seen Chelsey. And the referees are a little bit lax too, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, because there's a component to the game, which is entertainment. And I've seen Chelsey kind of come to the aid of a fellow player who was shoved after play. And as soon as the referee turned their back and ignored this action, Chelsey ran full speed at this this chick on the other team to sort of, I don't know, level the playing field, and fucking launched this girl. Shoved her so hard, she came off of her feet, landed on the ground, and I swear to God, the best part was that as soon as Chelsey knocked this girl off her feet, she turned around, she whipped her ponytail with her hand, and just walked away. And it was so awesome. And, I'm getting goosebumps right now.
Can't let girls get away with pushing your teammates around.
But here's the thing.
Their aid,
The other part to that story is that Chelsey invited me and Tex to play flag football with her.
Oh, no.
The other day, when Tex was still out in California, and I played flag football on the beach as well. And so she offered for us to be subs for her team or whatever, and she was fucking spicy as shit. So the same practices that she has in LFL, she definitely brings to a co-ed situation where it's just flag football, and she doesn't take shit from anyone. She's extremely competitive, and I think she's kind of known for that on her team because if something, I don't know, if something isn't fair or whatever, she's not a quiet person, but off the field, it's all rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah, rainbows and butterflies off the field. On the field, it's all business and take no prisoners. Just fucking get what you want. Be aggressive about it. Gotta talk if you want it.
Yeah, that's right. What else?
But yeah, like what Callie was saying, to supplement my training, just because, all the girls, pretty much all the girls that play in my league all have day jobs. Because as you know, women aren't making millions of dollars like the guys are playing any sport really, let alone women's football right now. So I play flag football, co-ed flag football on the beach as just an extra training tool for me, and to get in I play defense, so just get in more offensive practice and stuff like that. And all the girls do all their own crazy stuff to supplement extra training and get that competitive edge and stuff. Definitely. Yeah. It's amazing. So I punk guys all day on Saturday on the beach. So
she seriously does. She does.
Nick has my bitch. So
dude, she gets in their face and they hate it.
They hate it.
But she's so fast. She's super fast.
If I had a dime for every time a man told me he'd punch me if I wasn't a girl, I'd be pretty rich by now. So
yeah, they'll call it. It sounds really bad, but they'll be like, she's such a bitch or something like that, and Chelsey does not care at all. She's like, we're fucking playing a game right now.
And I'm winning.
And I'm winning.
I'll buy you a beer later, but let's play a game right now.
Any other questions for Chelsey?
Who's the coach on your team?
Coach on our team right now, his name is Eddie Chan. He has been in our league for about 5 years. He coached the San Diego team when he used to have a San Diego team. And then he came over to our team. So we have about 2 or 3 guys coaching us right now. And then our former coach, we have some ex-NFL players that are now starting to coach our league. One of our old defensive coach played for the Raiders for just a handful of years. And now he's with Vegas. But yeah, so we have a few ex-NFL guys getting into it too. So that makes things a a lot better and a lot more sophisticated than maybe it was in like the first year as a league. So just it's mainly guys. We have maybe like 1 or 2 female coaches, but I mean, obviously as of right now, men have more football coaching experience than a woman would. So it's mainly adult male coaches and stuff like that.
Have you seen a growth in popularity of the sport, like attendance-wise?
Oh yeah, definitely. A huge spike in it attendance-wise. I think we've been a league for about 8 or 10 years now. So I mean, it's gotten a lot bigger. We'll have probably anywhere from 2,000 to like 4,000 per game at our arena. But I know it's huge in Seattle. We're in Canada now, so we have 4 teams in Canada. It's big in Canada. We have 4 to 6 teams in Australia now. It absolutely blew up in Australia.
Yeah,
we have all those rugby players, massive chicks in Australia, and it got really huge in Australia. They just finished their season last week, so.
Yeah, the Aussie girls are pretty.
Yeah.
Like, do any play in the U.S. league?
Yeah, we actually had one on my team who played defensive end for us for 2 years, and then went back to Australia where she was from. She got deported, so she couldn't play with. She couldn't finish her season last year. They would not let her back in the U.S. actually. But yeah, I mean, she just rocked it in Australia, and they took our linebacker and took her to Australia this season too, and she did great. Their team won the whole thing, so we'll be happy to have her back with all her new Australian muscle, you know. So yeah, it's gotten huge. It's blown up a lot, and I mean, we changed our name from Lingerie Football to Legends Football just to gain a little more respect and hopefully get attention from TV networks and from other fellow athletes that just want to embrace us and take women's football to the next level and take it more serious. So.
I would check out the schedule, and if there's something in your area, because tickets aren't super expensive.
No, not at all. I mean, tickets range from it mainly depends on the arena, but at my arena they range from $12 to $77.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, $77, you are right there. Like we can hug. Like I might hug you if I score a touchdown. I might hug you or high five you, or if you piss me off, I might punch you. But yeah, I mean, like 77 gets you like you're right there. You can high five us. You can like talk shit. You can yell encouraging words, hopefully.
Yeah, but it is amazing. It's entertaining. I mean, because you can like feel the passion, and I know we've talked a bit about it just in prep for having Chelsey on, but I mean, those athletes out there are out there because they love the sport. I mean, no one's getting rich off of it. It's pride's on the line. Mm-hmm. You're doing it for your teammates. I mean, you can see the utmost respect for their coaches. When the coaches are fired up, the athletes get fired up, and it's great. It's an amazing experience, and it's a shame it's only 4 games, and especially being a big part of the Chelsey Haardt fan club. It's disappointing for us that we only got 2 opportunities this year that we're going to be able to go out there and check out Chelsey play, watch her play. So, and I guess you also have the chance that maybe one of these lovely football players who are totally jacked and super athletic are single, and you could be that one guy in the crowd that's lucky enough to be the future Mr.
Yeah, eye contact.
Chelsey is single. Hey.
You get a cool new last name, Hart. That's pretty fun, I mean, come on.
You gotta take her name. It's awesome.
It looks like in April there's a game up in Milwaukee, a Legends game, Green Bay versus Chicago.
Yeah, Green Bay versus Chicago. We have we have 2 different conferences in East and West, and actually I play for the LA team, and we have a game April 26th. We play Las Vegas, and that's the team that our ex defensive coach played. So that'll be he taught me all my moves, so I'll find something new, and I'll make his receivers pay. So that'll be an insane game for sure.
And it looks like you played
a personal game.
Los Angeles team?
Yeah, the Los Angeles team.
May 9th, Sears Center Arena in Chicago.
Denny, you gotta go.
Yeah, come on.
I'm
Dude,
there.
Seriously, check it out. It's a blast. And
you love it.
Yeah. So we play California first in Citizens Business Bank Arena. Then we play that game in Chicago in May, and then we have another game, I believe, in Minnesota. No, Seattle. I think it might be Seattle, and then we'll have another home game around August. in California, and then it'll be playoffs and then bowl time. So
looks like you'll be in Milwaukee as well in June.
Okay, awesome. I'm so excited.
And then there's that Seattle game. Cool. So May 9th, I'll be looking for you in Milwaukee or Chicago.
You better.
Check it out.
Do you have any where if people want to go see like highlight? Because I know there's some like after last season at the end of after each weekend, there'd be like a weekend wrap up of like highlights and like big hits and stuff like that. Where are those videos at?
You guys can. A lot of them are found on YouTube. So if you just YouTube Legends Football League or Lingerie Football League, or honestly, if you want to see all the best hits, just look up my team, Los Angeles Temptation. I mean, because we 3-time defending champs. No.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. You know, just dusting my shoulder off a little bit. But yeah, and you'll see all the really big hits on YouTube basically, and then LFLUS.com is our website, and they'll have a lot of good hits and good pictures online, and as well as all the team and like full roster and schedule and stuff like that. So yeah, just YouTube it, Google it. It's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah, it's legit, Denny. Seriously, you gotta check it out. And then meet Chelsey, of course.
Look me up on Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, we'll get to
Instagram.
So in the show notes, we'll show you how you get connected with Chelsey and put a couple highlights up there and stuff. But it's awesome. It's awesome, and it's it's really cool to watch. I mean, just again going back to when these girls came in, they come in and they're ready to train and they're coachable. It's like it's a breath of fresh air. So and Chelsey's been a great addition to our team too. I mean, it's perfect. So thanks a lot, Chelsey, for
coming on. No problem. Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you, Chelsey. All right, guys.
Where are we at now, Denny?
We got a couple submissions from the nation regarding dealing with bad coaching. So the first one comes from Emily Clem. Hey, guys. I was listening to the live podcast where a question was submitted about how to deal with difficult parents when coaching. Any suggestions on what to do about difficult head coaches? She goes on to say, I'm an assistant swimming coach at a local high school and was hired in part to head up the dryland strength training program. To start the season off, I was only given roughly 15 minutes to get some strength training in. I went to the coach and told him I needed some more time, and he basically ignored my request. Since then, our dryland program has been non-existent. I've tried multiple times to sit down with him, but he still doesn't get it. I've reached my limit on how much I can handle, and I'm seriously questioning if I want to come back next season. Not sure if any of you have had to deal with something like this, but any suggestions are much appreciated.
Well, I mean, it sounds like, why did they hire her? She's not doing anything, right?
No, she's a sport coach too.
Okay, so she's coaching swimming.
Swimming, yeah.
And she's also in charge of the dryland strength portion, which she has 15 minutes to do. It doesn't really sound like they actually want a strength program. I mean, that's just, to me, things are very black and white in my world, and so I would just send an email and just obviously, or even better, talk in person if he's available, and just, say like, obviously this isn't a priority for you. I would like to be used in like the most beneficial way for the team, and if you don't prioritize strength, then please use me how you want to use me. I mean, like, you can't force someone to prioritize something that they don't think is important. So I don't know.
Or just try to get a meeting, and I guess it comes down, it's just like football coaches. How many old school swimming coaches really value dryland activity? Probably zero. They think, you're only going to get better in the pool. And the fact of the matter is, you got a guy like, Raphael, who's really revolutionizing what he's doing with his Access program, and that's who Tex is training under. But get the guy in the room, just try to check his temperature on how he feels your current 15-minute block is aiding his athletes, and then why, where do you think 30 minutes could go, or why wouldn't you be opposed? Just try to get answers out of it. But
I mean,
odds are the guy's just going to be like, meh.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, somebody who's not communicating with you, and this is a historical sort of interaction with this person, to me personally, and I don't know the dude, but that doesn't really sound like somebody I'm interested in working for. So maybe that's a harsh answer, but like I said, I'm a pretty black and white person, and I just that'd be a pretty big turnoff for me as somebody who's passionate about leading a strength conditioning aspect to whatever their program is. So I'd kind of just be like, all right, it's been fun.
Yeah, I think it's important. She needs to find out his expectations of those 15 minutes. So it sounds like from the email that he took the 15 minutes away for more practice time. So he needs to understand that the strength work, the 15 minutes, whatever she's doing, is also kind of body awareness. So you're letting those athletes learn where their hips are, where their feet are, so when they step in the pool, when they got to push off the blocks, or when they got to do overreach a stroke or reach for the pad for the time, that they know where their body is. So there's lots of different points. It's not just strength. It's not just power. It's not just trunk work. She needs to find a way, find out his expectations, and then find a way to verbalize what she's going to do in those 15 minutes to meet those expectations.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just magically make something happen in 15 minutes. I mean, it just doesn't seem reasonable to me. So even if his expectations are like, well, I want you to get him stronger in 15 minutes. Well, I'm sorry, that's not how it works,
And then, I guess taking it, I mean, there's a political play here too, in the sense that, if this guy doesn't respect you as a coach, why would he respect your opinion?
Right.
So
that's more like what it sounds like to me. That's why.
And it's like it takes a significant amount of patience, a significant amount of tact, but if you can get on the good side of this coach, and just call it brown nosing, call it kiss ass, whatever you want to call it, but somehow get on the good side, so where you have the opportunity to sit down in an environment and have legitimate communication, that's an option. But the problem is that is so much fucking effort that if this particular opportunity, Emily, isn't like your launch pad or springboard into something bigger,
you're wasting your time.
You could be wasting your time.
Yeah.
Other than developing the skill, you personally, if this is an industry you want to get in,
of patience,
that is a trait you're going to have to learn.
Yeah.
And, you could just from the coaches we know, my buddies back in the Midwest who've made it. I got a buddy who's strength and conditioning guy on the Pacers, and, from Texas testimonials, like, it's a buddy-buddy system, and it's a buddy-buddy world. And that's, that's how the strength and conditioning world works. So if you're not the buddy-buddy, then unfortunately your opinion really is dog shit. I mean, and I know Tex can kind of attest to that situation as well.
And if this is a local high school, he's also in communication every single day with the other coaches in the district. So I would be as professional about dealing with this situation. So if this is not the best kind of coach for you, be professional about dealing with him. Go out and seek the other schools in the district and kind of ask their expectations and find the right fit for you as a coach.
Yeah, that's a big. Don't burn any bridges.
Yeah.
The guy sounds like a douche.
Yeah, see, Callie's already out. Callie's out of the district. She's never getting another job.
I can't tell if I'm just cranky today or if I'm really upset with that situation. It could be a combination of the two, but that guy sounds like a douche. And Emily, you do not need to work with somebody like that who's just like stringing you along because he needs some extra help. Like, you're way more, like, your skill set is way higher than what he's utilizing you for. So just tell him to suck it.
Don't, Emily, do not listen to Callie and do not listen to Denny. You need to maintain this relationship and find a tactful way to exit your situation. Listen to Tex and listen to me.
Luke is like the angel on your shoulder. I'm like the devil, spicy devil.
But I know that let's review the question real quick. Did we give any legit advice?
No. Next question, please.
Yeah, no, it's a shitty situation. I guess the consensus here is like it sounds like you got to take the high road. If you're looking to, I mean, your expectation is to have a full program in there, and I know like you and Carl are smart enough to put something together that would work. But this guy's expectation simply isn't that. So you have misaligned expectations. You either align or you tactfully separate. And try to maintain a positive rep in that network if it's something that you guys are going to pursue for your business. So
good.
Or just sell the girls or the guys, whatever swim team you're working with, and get them to come into your doors off site. So just one way.
And that also like in terms of that solution,
sniping.
You may offer it as a free service for a few girls, and then create patient X. And we've talked about this before as well. Like, if you're good at something, if you're good at something, never do it for free. But you also need to build that rep. And as soon as you develop the network, then you may have that whole swim team coming to your gym every evening at 6:30 for their dry land training program. And you know what you have? A lot more than fucking 15 minutes to dick around. And you could also use it as a business opportunity. But with that approach too, you do have to be tactful in taking into consideration the head coach and his expectations. So,
nah, you're fine.
All right, guys, listen to Cali.
I'm just kidding.
If you want to, no.
Burn your bridges.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. But Tex, what else on that? I mean,
that's it.
Yeah, she just needs to find out his expectations, see what's up, and then she needs to follow up with us what she found out or what she decided to do.
Yeah.
Take control. Take control of the situation. That's all I can say.
God.
What? It's true. Hey, if you don't like the way something's going down, you have to find something that you can take control of within it.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I right?
Right?
Am
I wrong?
Right.
Am I wrong?
Am I wrong? I drive a Dodge Stratus.
Okay.
We got another submission. Steve Bednarski, he emailed in saying, "Hey, Power Athlete Radio. I spent some time reading back through the Talk to Me Johnny post from years ago and ran across the course syllabus." I guess that was posted July 15th, which suggests some books on training and nutrition. Are there any additional books you would recommend since then, and more specifically, any recommendations for books on becoming a better coach?
Tex.
There you go.
I have a long list. I'll just give you a couple of my favorites. Kind of tying in Emily's question, there's this book. It's called Thank You for Arguing, and so it kind of gives you many different scenarios to practice and kind of dealing with people and their false interpretations of what's going on and your ability to communicate. So it's called Thank You for Arguing, and let me open it up real quick. I got a good quote from Emily from it, and
Tex is a quote man.
Communication gets lost in intent. So if that man is not really looking to add a strength program, arguing for a strength program, he's already made up his mind. So it's kind of a book to almost talk people into circles to get your points across. So that would be my first one. I'll let other people go, and I'll just check my bookshelf real quick.
I don't know how to read, so I'm not going to be a big help.
I also have issues with reading.
No, in terms of, I'm more of a geek on the geeky end of it. So the list that John has, I believe, has super training in there. I mean, for me, your ability to communicate, so any sort of communication holdup that you have, you need to address. But if you're an effective communicator, then you need to backload or stockpile your knowledge so that you can put into practice your knowledge. Because information without application is worthless, right? So find out what your limiting factors are as a coach. But I don't have a reading list for you. Basically, I've jumped onto John's list, and then what we're trying to do is compile the resources for you. So the reading list is our products. But what about Denny, Steve? You guys got anything for him?
Well, I liked you talked about super training. You got the science and practice of strength.
Yep.
Conditioning, those are pretty standard ones across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two of my favorite ones.
Yeah, and then putting the knowledge in into there into practice. That's what's going to really create that foundation of knowledge. So.
Yeah, I've been lost in super training for a long time. So like Luke said, taking that information that the book provides and then applying it to your athletes or articulating it into easy to read blog posts, that's everything. And the approach that I've taken with super training, I try to read it straight through like the Bible, but didn't really work that way.
No.
So,
it's a tough book. It's a tough read.
It's dense.
Yeah. So I found topics I was interested in, or John like assigned blog posts, and then he provides kind of choose your own adventures. So he references like chapter 1, section 2.3 later on in the book and throughout. So it makes you jump around to kind of stay with thoughts or topics that he addresses over and over again. So it
provides context for everything that's in the book. So it makes it a little bit more palatable. What else?
I would just recommend
and then
any kind of
okay.
Hey, Steve.
I was just gonna say,
Go ahead.
Certainly with respect to training, you guys nailed it. But with respect to coaching, there's a whole literature on psychology of communication and leadership, and I think that's something that any good coach, I think Tex kind of pointed on that, which is being able to effectively communicate, because we've all had that bad coach that says the same thing over and over again. Like the more you say it, the person's gonna get it or something.
Knees out.
Knees out, right? But also, I find sometimes that with the exception of some classic books, like Super Training is a classic, but some of the stuff is constantly evolving, and finding those authors' websites where they will update with things like blog posts as opposed to because I don't know if you guys know anything about publishing a book, but it takes a long time for a book to actually go in print. Mm-hmm. And in lots of fields, what happens is a lot of things happen in the interim between writing and publication. It could be upwards of a year to 18 months. And so you can get some of the most up-to-date information just by hitting that author's website where they're releasing some updates even before the book might be in print. So just some ideas like that.
That's a great point. I follow Dan Coyle on Twitter.
Right, Steve, you and we talked about that in one of our...
I follow Dan Coyle on Twitter, and he wrote Talent Code.
That's the Talent Code.
Yeah, I think Steve, Danny's behind a little bit, but he just posts updates or kind of research that just pops up that either kind of make his points or challenge his points.
Yeah, and then also those blog posts will open it up to user comments, and in my field in neuroscience, that opens it up for guys like me who can pop in who are also experts in the field to lay in my thoughts on it. So I think that's a way of getting really into the conversation, sometimes which is easier for somebody to dive into a dense book. I find sometimes for my students, if I can get them in on sort of the blog, layperson, interwebs kind of conversation, then they've got that foundation of the language or the the vernacular. They can go back and read the book. All of a sudden, that first pass through makes a little bit more sense than just jumping in headfirst into the text.
Yeah, great point.
And if you're a podcast listener like myself, that's how I kind of choose
That's how you read?
That's how I learn. I'm a big podcaster, so I'll try to link up with the show notes a couple of my preferred podcasts and episodes on like leadership and dealing with like difficult leadership or whatever. That could be applicable to Emily as well as this dude. So.
Awesome. So what else do you guys want to talk about?
got a couple questions here in the Q&A. First one we got is Ashley Packy. Pateki.
That's Luke's girlfriend.
Playtechy.
How do you say that? Anyways, will Power Athlete HQ CrossFit Football have a spreadsheet up this year for the game? So last year, Ben Ross put together this pretty legit spreadsheet where we can put our scores up for CrossFit Football Nation. And I wonder how many people we had. I think there was like about 100 people.
100,000.
100,000, I mean. All kind of threw their names in there and threw our names in the hat, and we were able to
we're looking
kind of
at it now.
slice and dice the scores.
I mean, I got 20th last year. That's bullshit.
No, that's just your.
Kelly, what did I get?
I don't know.
I don't think it rank ordered it, did it?
I think
he did have score reports.
You got 21st.
You're such a whore.
In a good way.
In the good way. In the good way.
What a terrible thing to say.
But yeah, we'll put something together for that. Maybe, hopefully Ben listens and he'll just do it again. Or certainly.
Can we just change the dates?
Yeah, I guess so. Because it's just gender. Let me see how this whole thing goes down.
That probably shouldn't have changed.
Yeah, so it's just a score. Well, who knows? You know, there's experimental people out there. But yeah, we'll get this put up and definitely throw it out there. So next. Then Brian B asks, can you talk about training with injury? I have a significant shoulder injury, but still want to train as much as possible. Any advice on how to work around the shoulder? Right now, most movements involving the shoulder or holding significant load is out. Playtech? Aren't you a shoulder guy?
Yeah, God, I'm like, anything upper body's hurt. You know, I mean, like, I don't even know what to say. I mean, significant shoulder injury, what can you do? I mean, I guess you could squat maybe if it doesn't hurt to put something on your back. When I busted my arm, when I broke my bicep tendon, I fashioned a homemade safety squat bar so I could hold it with one hand, and I squatted, did good mornings, those sorts of things. If you can still run and sprint, I mean, those are the kinds of things that I would recommend. But I would tell them not to be stupid like I am and keep training through it until it's probably going to fall off, and like rest it up.
Yeah, and then, I mean, in terms of, I guess, Andy, it's just curious what the expectation is out of the training. I mean, if you can't push or pull with your upper body, then you're not going to be pushing or pulling with your upper body. If you can do some plyometrics and it doesn't aggravate your shoulder, that'd be an option. Again, sprinting's a great option. Fabricate a belt squat system, so you don't even have to worry about loading your bar. Like, so that'd be like get a dip belt and a whole bunch of plates and get 2 platforms to stand on. Do some belt squatting, or just invest $5,000 in a pit shark. Let's see.
Well, I talked to Brian. We had an email correspondence, and I when he was first assessing his shoulder issues, I suggested, you know, experimenting on what sort of grip is comfortable for him, because for his job and what he's training for, he didn't mention it, but he's a fireman, and so there are elements of his job where he has to push and pull things overhead or potentially pull himself, or, you know, his job is sort of unpredictable in that way. So to disregard his upper body isn't really an option necessarily for him, but it just needs to be manageable. So he did end up purchasing a football bar, really enjoyed it, and then I guess he had something of the, like a cortisol or cortisone shot, and then that started to wear off, and he started to have, you know, some more consistent pain. So, you know, it's kind of like, I feel like we're saying a lot of the obvious shit. I mean, obviously lower body, try to do plyometrics, try not to do stuff with your upper body. And it's just hard because ultimately, until he addresses whatever the actual issue is with the injury, you're just probably doing more harm than good.
Yeah, and you know, it's easy for people to fucking look at a training day, walk in, turn on fucking Taylor Swift, Nickelback, and like get after a workout with the ferocity of 1,000 angry dachshunds, right? Which are the most vicious breed of dog, right? So people get vicious after this training, and they're so serious about it. It makes or breaks their day. But, now you're talking about something that is correctable through training, maybe not the fun type of training, but some sort of mobility or rehab that people just half-ass and attack. And Brian, I'm not attacking you personally, first off, but we see it often in our gym. People want to show up and WOD, but when they have to sit in the shoulder club, which is the corner where everybody does their jobs and everybody does their isometric holds and there's their prescribed kind of rehab, prehab for their shoulders, they just dick around and dig through it and skip reps and shit. They don't take it seriously. So it's like focus on getting it dialed in.
It's as effective as you make it. And those are the people who, they're lax, they don't care, and they're going through the motions. But if you really care about rehabbing this thing, then you'll seek out the PT and you'll take those steps and more to the point, like you'll sort of take your training a little bit slower. And I know that's not what you want to hear, but ultimately you don't get better by just hammering away at a pre-existing injury.
Right. So.
And I think there's some evidence out there. I might have made this up, but I feel like I've read a couple papers on unilateral training to enhance motor cortex integrity in the contralaterally affected limb. So if you hurt your left limb, but you train unilaterally with your right limb, it actually can help maintain some of the strength and CNS functionality of the limb that's injured. So maybe some unilateral training could help too. Part of his rehab.
Yeah, let it rip. If it doesn't aggravate anything.
Right.
So.
Just take up spinning and call it a day.
Or that.
Zumba. There's Zumba.
So, and then that, I believe, men, at least that's it on our end for questions. What's next?
Can I give a shameless plug?
No.
Tomorrow? No.
Been a great show. Thanks.
Oh, fuck you guys. See ya.
No, yeah. What's up, Steve?
Yeah. So tomorrow's International Darwin Day. February 12th is Chuck Darwin's birthday, and I was supposed to be talking in Alabama, but since the snowpocalypse happened, I'm gonna be doing a podcast on Google tomorrow, around 10:30.
Eastern.
Eastern time. Yeah, a.m. Eastern time. We're gonna have some interesting folks on there. One of them is my PhD supervisor, who he and I, when I was a graduate student, discovered that human semen acts as an antidepressant. So we'll be talking about some cool stuff like that. So if anybody's interested in sort of evolutionary science, plug in.
All right, you got a link for that you can send me?
I will. Yeah, I will.
All right, we'll get it in the show notes. And then, I don't know, what should we close with?
Katy, Texas.
Katy, Texas. That is going to be killer. So that's going to be a big cert. You guys are in for it. Wellborn's traveling. If you're around Texas and you want to meet the John Wellborn, and more importantly, the Tex McQuilkin.
Hometown hero.
And you can get back to Texas hometown and see what this CrossFit football thing's all about. Tex will tell you all about his open water swim training, which he's excelling in right now with the Ruiz down in Tampa. But so we got Katy, and then after that we are in Playtech. We're in your turf, aren't we?
Yeah, you guys are out here. What, March 1st?
Buford, Georgia.
1st.
Yeah.
Buford, Georgia, where the beer flows like wine. Are we gonna get frozen in?
Yeah, probably.
Oh God, that's gonna be trouble. That's gonna be trouble.
There could be probably no worse place to be frozen in.
Just training in your garage with your fabricated single arm safety squat and homemade growler.
That's our backup plan.
That's the backup plan.
Cert in Playtech's garage.
That'd be ballin', dude.
Also, guys, I made a event Facebook page for the Badges for Life competition that's coming up on the 17th of May, and registration is open. If you want to contact me about anything, questions, or you want to have a booth, or you want to sponsor something or whatever, feel free to email me at Cali@powerathletehq.com. But the best way you can get involved is register a team and get excited about getting sweaty on the beach. It should be a lot of fun. So please, please, please sign up for this great cause.
Do I have to?
Is Chelsey going to be there?
Can I get a team? Sure.
Yeah,
I don't
me
know.
and Chelsey are going to be on a team.
Yep, I'm there. I'm in. Sold.
Nice.
Awesome. Anything else? Anything?
I think that's it. That is a
Next
wrap.
episode, we'll talk about some anterior pelvic tilt. We had a submission earlier on that, and
Noise.
Real noise.
Speaking of pelvic tilt, I want to just say that this Friday, I believe, is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day. Make sure you treat your ladies and your siggos good. Don't forget to get them something. Don't call them whores, Steve.
Are you implying that you and Steve are Valentines?
No, I'm just.
you guys
I had no idea, Callie.
My
wanna hear-
Valentine would never call me a
what I
whore.
got my wife for Valentine's Day.
Is she
what do you
listening? Is she one of our 9 listeners?
I hope not, because it's going to be a surprise. This is like
Okay.
one of her things
I
she
think-
put on her bucket list that she
Bon
has
Jovi
to
tickets.
Oh, I think you told us. Yeah. Was it Bon Jovi or was that her birthday?
do. No, that was the birthday. We're going to go to the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cute, Denny.
That's
right?
sweet.
Big musical. It's at a place down in the city, and that's like one of the things that she's always wanted to do. She loves the movie. So
That's great.
I came across those tickets, and we're going to rock and roll. That's this Sunday, so I'm looking forward to that. Has anybody seen that live show before?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Negative.
Steve, you have?
I saw it on Broadway. It's good.
Nice.
Do I need to have a couple beers before I go in there, or is it going to be?
I would
probably a
bring.
good
I-
idea.
Okay.
It's probably a good idea to bring a
It's
flask.
probably a
I
good
would
idea.
hey, Denny, bring a flask and bring a pair of glasses that you can put on that look like your eyes are open.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have a pair of eyes or glasses like that too, man. I've had to use them for various seminars.
Well, that and were you wearing them at the football seminar? That you have 12 daughters, so I'm sure jazz dance routines when they're like 6 years old. You probably break those glasses out.
Denny reproduces like a cockroach. Every week we had like 2 more daughters to his list.
The last one, I just woke up and looked in the bathroom and there was like a baby in there. And then I turned around and there was like a lion in my room, and it was really weird. Me and my friends, I don't really remember what happened that night. We were on a roof, we did some kind of toast, and then.
So Denny, would you be Galifianakis or what's it again?
Yeah, no.
Are you Andy Bernard?
You're. Those are all the wrong names, but I think we get it. He's Mike Tyson in that scenario.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, happy Valentine's Day. Have a great week.
And we'll see you we'll talk next week, right?
Sounds good.
Next week.
All right, let's do it. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.